for the Jenks Public Works Authority. Today is Wednesday, June 12th, of 2024. It is roughly 5 minutes after 10 a.m. Mr. Macy, if you could please verify our attendance, please.
Brown?
Here?
Short?
Here.
Chairbox.
Here, item number 1, tonight's general business. The review of revenues and expenditures and transfers in any accounts or related issues pertaining to the fiscal year 2024 to 2026 biennial budget. Gentlemen, this is not a council meeting, just a committee meeting, so let's just have at it. No need to, just if you want to speak, let's get underway and get your questions going. Whoever wants to get us started, you may.
I mean, I don't have any questions. I kind of a couple thoughts. You know, our utility rates are based on this analysis are very acceptable relative to our local municipalities. I think we've done a good job managing the expense side of this with respect to, you know, not having to raise revenue rates in order to offset the utilization. We all know the city's grown quite a bit in the last 5 or 10 years. That puts more and more pressure on volumes, and so I'm pleased that we've been able to maintain kind of this level of rate increases to offset those costs. We all know the underlying elephant in the room is the wastewater treatment. We're going to have to address at some point, but I think the city's done a fantastic job in my tenure here of maximizing the efficiency of that facility by doing what we can in a CapEx budget to offset, you know, extend time and give us the appropriate amount of time to determine what the final, you know, master plan on that wastewater treatment plant will be. So I appreciate the staff's work on that and specifically the Works Authority.
All right, thank you, Mr. Short. Mr. Brown, you want to make any comments on water sales and sewer?
Yeah, just to...
We can just bite these off in little chunks if you want.
Sure, that's fine. And just a general question. First, I would assume then on the expenses, following what
Let us know where you're at.
Yeah, I'm on page 6, sorry. Would you say, Tara, that the changes, the increases correlate with the growth of the city? In other words, because we've got more customers, we're utilizing more on our expense size on the water?
We are, in fact, in the memo, I did note that we have received notice from U.S. Water, who operates our wastewater treatment plant. Their rates have already gone up 5%. That was effective as of May. So this 7% helps us keep pace with that and then keep pace with additional expenses in operating our water and sewer.
Yeah, the reason I ask if it correlates, looking between budget year 2022, 23 to 23, 24, we had 11% increase, and then projected for this first change is 15%. So we're seeing, so I'm guessing then that's going to correlate with the number of customers we're bringing on.
Yeah, and some of that is related to adding full-time employees to Public Works related to water maintenance and maintenance of the valves. So right. When we have water breaks, you know, we have to shut off water to certain areas of town, and if we don't maintain the valves, and Barry could correct me, but if you're not maintaining the valves, they can break or have problems when you're opening them. And so these employees, the goal is to be exercising those valves, so we have exercising and replacing, so we have good valves in place, so when we have water breaks, we can minimize the disruption to the majority of customers. And then we also offset some of what would normally be coming out of Fund 53, which is our 1 cent capital fund. Fund 50 is absorbing some of those costs. And we think that we've been super conservative in our budgeting of the revenue for Fund 53, but we didn't want to go overboard with that fund as it relates to its existing fund balance. And so I think that you would find that if you go to any community that's similar to ours. We run very lean, and we're continuing to try to do so, but we do have some necessary increases in expenses.
Right, yeah, that's reflective in the CapEx budget that's tied into that. And this might be something we want to look at as well, because I don't think we're putting CapEx in operating expenses, but we might want to look historically back at what we're doing CapEx and then projecting forward. We're looking at seeing what needs to be maintained on a regular basis. I would expect there's probably a regular schedule on grinders or different things that go in the public works on how often they have to be replaced. But that's was a $4 million expenditure for CapEx. So that was, and one footnote just kind of caught my attention. It's just a question on the page 7. So on the footnotes, page 9. It just kind of stood out for me. Item 18, Jenks Coalition Campaign.
Yeah, Visit Jenks. We have worked with the aquarium, so back in, I think it was 2020, Back in 2020, Governor Stitt signed a bill that would allow the aquarium to keep the state's portion of the sales tax, which is 4.5%, on all entry fees, and that amounts to about $250,000 to $300,000 a year. And so we, last budget cycle, worked with the Chamber, JPWA, and the aquarium to set up kind of a marketing campaign to try to get people to visit Jenks. And, the rationale for the bill that the governor signed was that 60% of the people that visit the aquarium come from further than 50 miles away, and we have we have zip code info that shows that about 30 to 35% of the people that walk through the door are from out of state. And so the goal is to get people from Arkansas, Kansas to come spend their money and time in Jenks. And I think that with the mall opening, we're just going to ramp that up, try to get, the goal being a destination city, so.
Yeah, I saw the name on it. I just didn't know if there was any connotation to when I saw the word coalition.
No.
And
Who are the
then,
members of that coalition? Is the tribe part of that? Is
Well,
Heather
it's
not
not-
working with the Muskogee Nation?
It's not really the language there, maybe it was called that at one time, but really it's the aquarium and then the chamber
Okay,
working to market Jenks.
okay. That's good enough.
and then the last item I had on the projections, again, on increases on planning, the planning department, I think we have item 15 in there. The professional services for downtown master plan, did these numbers reflect back to the different proposals? I know we still haven't finally arrived at a contract on that, but I think the amounts were significantly larger.
Well, I think that and Tara could correct me, but the plan was to budget 200,000 this fiscal year and 200,000 next fiscal year, trying to keep it within that framework.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Anything else for you, sir? Mr. Short?
Nothing here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to item 2 is the recommendation of the Jenks Public Works Authority fiscal year 2024 to 2026 biennial budget and relate its documents to implement the same. Last call, gentlemen. If not, we can entertain a motion to approve this recommendation to council.
I make a motion, we recommend the approval of the Jenks Public Works Authority fiscal 24-26 biennial budget.
Second?
Thank you both very much. We have a proper motion and second on item number 2. Let's vote, please.
Brown.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Chair Box.
Yes, thank you very much. 10:15, we are adjourned.
Here?
Short.
Here.
Chair Box.
Here. Give me just a moment. Item number 1 is the review of revenues, expenditures, and transfers and any accounts related issues pertaining to the previously mentioned 2024 to 2026 biennial budget. We will open the floor. Let's just stick to the, I only have 2-3 pages here. Mr. Brown, any comments, questions, concerns?
Just two questions, or I guess comments. Initially on the JEDA, we had 4 different categories where the investments were going to go. And I think the last discussion we had was focusing on the kitchen grants, whereas we had business improvement, development project assistance, and then retail recruitment. So are we eliminating those sub-items?
No,
No.
Okay.
no, this is just at the fund level,
Okay.
so it's kind of high level, but the reason for the $1.1 million budget this fiscal year is because we had, if you can see, we had budgeted 500,000 in '23, budgeted 500,000 in '24, but the projects that we were trying to incentivize are just getting to the point where they can actually receive their incentives. So social with their kitchen grant, City Hall Steakhouse with their kitchen grant, and then we have, I can't remember the address or the name of the project, but the project at the railroad tracks in Maine that's supposed to be a 4 or 5 story mixed use building hasn't even,
Hasn't started
yeah,
yet.
hasn't started. And so we tried to, be mindful that we know that we have some of these larger kitchen grants coming in this fiscal year. And so that's why there's the 1.1 million. But that includes facade, sign, kitchen grant, and retail recruitment.
On the last bullet point on page 2 regarding high five, I know we've had some back and forth on project delays and trying to negotiate all of that out. That, we're referencing a payment, was that a loan, is that the grant, 625?
So the high five agreement, and these numbers could be slightly off, but the agreement was for a $1.2 million investment in cash,
Right.
an investment in land. So we had the land appraised. I don't recall off the top of my head what that was. But combined, the 1.2 million and the land value, they are to pay us back on an annual basis with a coupon until we receive 150% of the initial investment.
So this would be a loan then, if it's on a
Yeah.
repayment? Yeah, okay. And then just kind of a last footnote maybe for Tara. I did have at least one citizen communication that was asking about the TIFs because we've reclassified some of the TIFs and where things were going. So this kind of goes somewhere between the JEDA and somewhere back to Public Works. And I think the reclassification concerns was related to where we carved out the portion for the aquarium. So it might be good just before the council meeting, just to review all of those TIFs and where they go into the budgets that are presented to council for final, just so we've got them lined up properly. Didn't really have an impact on the budget, but at least there was a question about it, so I thought a footnote might be appropriate.
Yeah, John, I agree, and I've asked for this a few times. I think it would be real helpful at some point if we could have a small little binder that's just a massive overview of, well, general summary of all our TIF activity. TIF 1, here's the map, here's the project area, here's the entities that have participated. Flip the page, here's TIF 2, something that we make multiple copies of. I think every senior member should have one, and I think the council should at least have a version that we can print out and bind out. Just TIF for dummies.
Well, kind of an executive summary, of the
Yeah,
high
just a high
points.
level. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to, and frankly, if we're in a town hall meeting and we're getting hammered with TIF questions, you know, I could make an argument that I know one or two people that may have more information about our TIFs than we do, because they're staring at it all the time. But it would be really helpful if we could just flip into our council folders over to our TIF section and say, look, here's how many we have, here's when they were created, here's when they were approved. Timeline is 20 to 25 years here, it's 20, 30 years here. Here's the project area, and here's what the potential plans are. And maybe once a year, and obviously you won't be here at that point, but once a year we just go back and we do an audit and say how many dollars have been poured into the TIF, what have we committed for reimbursements, et cetera, et cetera. And we update it once a year. So it'd probably take a couple days to create it, and then we just update it once a year.
Yeah, and I don't think these things actually, necessarily impact budgeting, but they're more from an audit.
Yeah.
Financial allocation standpoint, making sure that when we do our audits that those funds are going to the appropriate areas. But that'll be our audit team looking back to make sure they're linked properly.
And we might have to think about this, but, I would love to see some KPIs, just, not to say that I know exactly what to have KPI, but I think that'd be really interesting to see kind of an ongoing rolling, hey, here are sales tax dollars we've generated in the TIF. Here's the property tax valuations that we've generated in the TIF, and kind of have that rolling vision of graphically of being able to show, hey, here's the data, and roll with that. And I wouldn't necessarily want to just look at it once a year, but something that isn't burdensome, but does make material sense, for a performance indicator.
Yeah, thank you. How about you, Kevin? You have any questions?
I don't have
comments
any questions, but I do want to, when I first joined, JEDA was probably one of the first things we voted on, and I'm really pleased to see finally that we're seeing the traction that we expected to have. As Mr. Strout mentioned, some of these things take longer than you envision. They always do, it seems like, but I'm really pleased to see the traction that the JEDA has been able to obtain. I think this is such an important aspect to have this tool in the belt to be able to do the things that we're doing to really generate significant return on investment. And I think the investments we're making and going to be making probably in the near future will really drive the economic value, not only to the budget, but to the city itself. And I'm really proud of what we've been able to do with JEDA. I think it does separate us from everybody else that we're competing with. And, so I'm very excited to start seeing these things come out. I'm excited to see the returns that we're going to get out of it. And hopefully, JEDA will continue to grow as we reinvest and can utilize to do some really, really cool things. And very pleased that where we are. It's been, obviously frustratingly slow to get the ball rolling, but again, I think we've got tangible things that we can point to that JEDA has made a material change to that our citizens can utilize and appreciate. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. I agree. And thank you to Tara, Chris, and staff, whoever helped put these things together. I don't have any questions or comments. I appreciate everyone's time. Last call, gentlemen. Anyone? Mr. Shrout? All right, we'll call it 10:25. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.
We need a motion and a vote.
All right, we got number 2.
Make a motion to,
Let's go ahead and, thought we were going to get out of here as fast as possible, but let's do this right. Item number 2 is the recommendation to the Jenks Economic Development Authority for the fiscal year 2024-2026, this biennial budget and the related documents. If we could have that motion again, I'd appreciate it.
I make a motion to recommend the Jenks Economic Development Authority fiscal 24-26 biennial budget be approved.
Second.
Thank you. My apologies. We have a proper motion and a second on item 2. Let's vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Chairbox?
Yes, 10:26 a.m. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Tara, thank you.
Meeting soon.